Hello, everybody, and welcome to our tribute to Spider Boodrow. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, and we've got a lot of great guests here tonight that are going to come on and tell some stories and some great memories of our friend Spider Boodrow. And so, been looking forward to doing this. It's not the happiest occasion to be here, but it's cool to be here with everybody tonight to get to, like I said, share stories and memories of Spider Boudreaux. And of course, tonight, I hope everybody comes away with this um, with not only a greater appreciation for, Spider Boudreaux, the wrestler, Spider Boudreaux, the persona, but I also hope you come to realize, if you didn't already know before, what a great guy Bruce Forbes, the man behind the persona, was. Because he was a great guy. He was a family man. He loved his family. He loved the wrestling business. He loved his fans. And so I just hope that all that comes across here tonight as we have this special tribute to Spider. So I want to welcome right now a guy who's going to kind of be a co-host of sorts, a guy who definitely knew Spider well, and of course that's the promoter of the IWA Deep South, Kevin Brannon. Kevin, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, I'm doing okay, man. I watched that intro video and it kind of shook me up. It made me feel like I was at his funeral. I couldn't make the memorial, but seeing all those clips, and I done seen a couple of the tribute videos to him. They're hard to watch, man. I don't know. I'm probably not going to be the best co-host because I I don't have a lot I can really say. I'm gonna do my best, Gene.
Well, that's all any of us can do, man. It's understandable. Like I say, you were close to him, and so we're going to get to a another man who was very close to Spider, who has a long and storied history with Spider. But before we get to that man, we're going to get to another man, a well-known man, Madman Pondo. Welcome to the show, and how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you guys all doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
All
hear you
right.
good, man.
So, I mean, you've been on a lot of shows with Spider throughout the years, and so tell us some memories and some fun stories of Spider.
The uh, the first time I ever met Spider Boudreau was at Kevin Brannon's Carnage Cup, the very first one he did. You know, the famous Kevin Brannon in the bushes one. I got him out of the bushes, don't lie.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
uh, two guys said that they was going to jump off the balcony onto a table, and then when I got to looking, it was just one table, and that balcony was pretty high. And I remember being scared for these two guys. I didn't really know who they was yet, and they did it, and everything came out all right. And like you said, I was on three or four more shows with Spider. And just to tell you what kind of guy Spider was, he always called me sir, yes sir, yes sir. And finally one day I said, Spider, why do you keep calling me sir? He says, because I have total respect for you. And I said, well, me and you are friends. You don't have to call me sir. And he said, yes, sir. So, I mean, that if that tells you any kind of story, what Spider Boudreaux was like, he had respect for the death match. He had respect for the guys who helped this movement along and all that. But not too. So I'm glad John Rare is on here because I didn't, I never got to really talk to him about it. But Kevin Brandon will tell you that not too long ago, maybe what 7, 8 years ago, John Rare and Spider Boudreaux did the uh, um, oh shit, what am I trying
All
the fucking thing.
The box cutter,
The
box
box
cutter.
cutter. Thank you.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
my brains beat out too damn much for that shit. But anyway, they did the box cutter spot, and guys just started hating on them, on both of them. on high levels. So finally, it was my shoot interview, and the question was, how dumb do I think those guys was? How dangerous do I think it was good for death matches and all this? Well, they forgot back in the day that me and Ian used scissors on each other. They forgot that Nick Gage tried to do a suicide dive and got helicoptered out of the area. They forgot Necro took a chunk out of his arm. We all did that kind of stuff to get our name out there and to make death matches relevant. So I always gave kudos to John Rare and Spotted Boudreaux for doing that spot because it worked. And I'll tell you why it worked. Because here it is, 7, 8 years later. How long ago was it, Kevin? How long ago was it?
February. It actually be 10 years in February.
10 years. Here it is, 10 years later. And when you talk about Spidar Boudreaux and John Rare, that's one of the things that comes up is that box cutter spot. So, in my opinion, those two, did a revolutionary thing for death matches with that box cutter spot. Now, I'll be goddamn if I would ever do that, but thank God those two did and got their names out there.
Yeah,
but yeah, Spider-Man.
Let me interject one thing, man.
I
was going to interject one thing. I don't know if you knew. I think the original video that showed the highlight from the box cutter. I don't know if you kept up with it. Me and John looked at it. It had like over 1 million views, right? Of just the clip from the box cutter. I mean, I'm not trying to blow smoke. Yeah, the original clip. I don't know if it's still up. It legit had over 1 million views, man. Legit.
I hear you. So the last show that I saw Spidar at was the Milestone. I can't remember what their deathmatch tournament was. It was outside at some park before all this COVID shit started. But I went over to Spidar and I said, "Hey, Spidar, do you have a 4X in your T-shirt?" And he said, "Yes, sir, I do." And he went and got it. And I gave him the money, tried to give him the money, and he was like, "No, sir, that's for you." And I said, "Nah, man, you got to make your money just like everybody else." And he wouldn't take the money. So later I went over and gave it to his wife and said, "Here, you and Spidar go get you guys something to eat or do whatever." But as far as good guys in the business, Spidar was one of them. And he also did our Masters of Pain tournament with Masada, and everybody talks about that match. So he may be gone, but he will never be forgotten.
Yeah, I would say he has definitely made a legacy for himself in deathmatch wrestling, especially Southern deathmatch wrestling. But I think you being here, Pondo, and telling some of the stories you have just shows he has a farther reach in the deathmatch world than just in the South.
That's exactly right. Rest in peace, Spidar Boudreaux. Actually, we had a girl fight show Saturday, and I did a 10-bell salute for Spidar Boudreaux.
That's awesome. That's really awesome, man.
Let me ask you something, Pondo. Why is it, in your opinion, why is it you think that Spidar gets so much hate and heat that he does? What do you think?
You want me to be honest with you, right?
Yeah, totally honest, man.
It probably has something to do with Kevin Brannon bringing Spidar Boudreaux up because, the first deathmatch tournament you had was kind of a flop. We all know that. And, of course, you got that other IWA motherfucker talking shit about you all the time, and people listen to that. So that's probably why him and John Rare get so much heat, saying that they're untrained and all that. Well, I mean, how do you train for death matches? You don't. You either have balls to do them or you don't have balls to do them. And Spidar Boudreaux had balls to do them.
And that's something I'd like to say right here, real quick. I met Spidar 20 years ago in Littleville, Alabama, at a bar show, And Spidar he did a convict gimmick. He was Spidar Boudreau, but he wore an orange jumpsuit, and he wrestled, and he could work. He was a good
Right.
worker. Like I worked once we seen him there, we brought him over to do TV in Mississippi and did a bunch of shows with him. And it wasn't until several years later that I was a tape trader and come across a Carnage Cup and saw. I was like, holy shit, that's Spidar Boudreau that I used to do shows with. He's doing death matches now. So Spidar knew how to work. I mean, it comes a point where once you become exclusively a death match wrestler, there's not a lot of opportunity for that. It is what it is, but I think a lot of people don't realize that Spidar was a wrestler first. He later made his way into death matches, but Spidar knew how to wrestle. He was, a good worker and knew what he was doing from that standpoint.
Well, that's the thing. We get a lot of hate. Deathmatch workers get hate all the fucking time, but and it is different now. Like there are some guys now who get into the wrestling business to be a deathmatch worker, but 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, you had to be a professional wrestler and learn shit before you became a deathmatch wrestler. I was just in Michigan. I'm not tooting my own horn. I know this is about Spidar, but I was just in Michigan last weekend, and I did chain wrestling with a guy, and the crowd started cheering, and the commentators were like, "I didn't know you could do that," and then it was a TV taping, so I did wrestling the next match, and people were shocked, like, I can't believe you was doing that. Well, you had to learn to be a wrestler, to be in the business, to become a deathmatch worker back then. And we're talking back in the Gypsy Joe days. Gypsy Joe, whether you was a worker or not, you was getting your ass handed to you by Joe. So there was a deathmatch thing. And then Mike Samples was running a company out of Indianapolis, and they would have barbed wire ropes. So there was that, So for people to be surprised that Spidar knew how to wrestle before he became a deathmatch worker, no surprise at all. Now, I will admit, like we all three realize, things have changed, and guys will buy a pair of Magnums and put a flannel shirt around their waist and go and do death matches now. It's just the evolve of wrestling and death matches. But back in the day, that just was unheard of, that you went straight into death matches.
Hey, Pono, let me ask you something else. Can you give me the inside story on what happened at Masters of Pain, when Spidar worked Masada? Give me, what was up with that, why it turned out that way. And I'd heard that Brett Lauderdale had gotten into Masada's ear before the match, and supposedly, I guess, told him his opinion about him, and that shaped how the match went. I'm not sure. I was just wanting to get, your inside knowledge on the situation, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm friends with you. I'm friends with Brett Lauderdale. I really don't talk shit on people. Maybe there was some talk to Masada about, hey, I mean, the way they looked at it, they saw the box cutter spot and decided, okay, this guy's untrained and blah, blah, blah. But I even pulled Masada to the side and told him, hey, we don't do that shit here, and plus Spidar's my friend and all that. So, I mean, you're probably right. There was, because he rode down with those guys, so there probably was a lot of shit talking going on. I don't know who was doing the shit talking. Like, I do my best to stay out of drama. Shit, for years, if you could imagine being the number 31 in America, imagine how much shit talking I had over the years. So I just wanted people to give me a chance. So when I hear shit talking about other wrestlers, I want other wrestlers to give them a chance. Because if nobody gave me a chance, would you even know who the fuck Madman Pondo was today,
No. I appreciate you telling me that, man. I appreciate you being on, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Pondo,
Yeah.
I know Spidar would be honored that you were on here tonight and had all these great things to say about him. So we really appreciate you taking the time to come on. It means a lot.
No problem. I'm not speaking nothing but the truth. Rest in peace, Spidar Boodrow.
Thank you, Pondo.
All right.
I didn't mean to overlook John Rare. I want to welcome John Rare to the show. I'm kind of hold him off because I know we got a lot to talk about with John. But I do want to welcome him to the show, and we will be, throwing some questions his way and bring him in on some things. I want to welcome right now too, the one and only Insane Lane has joined the show. Lane, how you doing tonight, brother?
It's good to see you, Gene. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody's faces. It's been a long time. I just wish it was under better circumstances.
Absolutely, man. It's good to see you too. I don't get to see you much. You're not on Facebook anymore, but I totally understand.
Yeah, I got the hell off that thing.
I hear you. It's probably be better for all of us if we did. But
Yeah.
I know that you knew Spidar well. You worked with him, you did shows with him. So tell us, share some stories with us, man. Tell us your perspective on Spidar.
Yeah, man, I've known Spidar better part of 20 years. Probably about as long as anybody else, about as anybody on here. Probably about as long as you have, Gene, Kevin. Man, when I started out in the wrestling business about 20 years ago, I was a regular wrestler like you hopped on earlier. like Spidar was, but I kind of wanted to start to do more crazier stuff, and the one name that popped up, in that area of Alabama where I started, man, people like Red Shadow, and well, not Red Shadow, but he was got tough wrestler around that area, but Gypsy Joe was one, and another name that came up all the time was Spidar Boodrow. The legend was out, man, of him jumping off the top of the building, I think in Nitrate City, Alabama, off the top of the building onto a car. I think that predated Zandig and Mondo tournament to death, if I'm correct. I mean, I believe so. He jumped off the building, did a spider driver, which is the which I mean everybody knows like a Michinoku variation or whatever, off the building onto a car. And I was like, oh my God, so he was doing that shit way before most people or the shit you see now. He was doing that shit over 20 years ago, and man, so yeah, so he was already doing that crazy shit already. So, but yeah, one of my I had done a couple little like tag matches or battle royals with him before, but my very first singles match was against him in Rogersville, Alabama in 2004, I believe, and Rogersville, Alabama, 2004 for a promotion called XPW. And we had a really good match, and the stuff he did back then, oh my gosh! I mean, he did Sabu stuff, and he was in really good shape then. And he would like set a chair up, hit the back of the ropes, jump on the chair, jump on the ropes, do a suicide dive on you. I mean, he did all kinds of stuff, man. And then he gorilla press slammed me, and I was like 245 at the time. Right. And threw me in the crowd. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, this guy did it all. And he was tough as can be. And we had a really good match. And he was, and to being tough and looking scary as hell, nicest guy and just such a nice guy. And have you laughing, the jokes he'd say and tell, and just a cut up, and just loved everybody. And he was just, like I said, just couldn't say more good things about him. I mean, I could talk about him all night, just how good he was.
And that's
in the ring and out.
That's what I really hope people come out of tonight understanding. I mean, I think people who are deathmatch fans and deathmatch wrestlers, kind of know, Spidar's reputation and some of the things he did. But for people who didn't get to meet him or didn't get to be in a dressing room with him and didn't get to know him as a person, I mean, Spidar, like you said, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, would give you the shirt off his back to anybody.
Yes.
And funny as fuck, man. Like just so much fun to be around, you know, in the dressing room, and you know, could come back from, you know, just an absolute bloodbath, and then, you know, he's cracking jokes and making everybody forget what they just went through in some of these deathmatch tournaments.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, Kevin's kind of touched on it here, and I don't want this to become the theme of the show. I don't want to dwell on it, but do you think, because especially based on some of the stories you just told, I mean, he was a much bigger innovator in the world of deathmatch wrestling than he gets credit for. Do you think he'll ever get his due, what he really, you know, a recognition of what he's given to deathmatch wrestling, or is it just because he's in the South, you know, all these different things? Do you think he'll always just kind of be the guys who know, and the others will just kind of be in the dark?
You know what? You know, the thing is, man, people usually don't get their respects until they're dead. And then that's when people get the retrospect. And that's when people start retrospecting and stuff, be like, you know what? He really, everybody, musical artists of any kind, whether it be musical, painting, drawing, sports people, wrestlers, anybody. When anybody passed away and they were kind of a polarizing figure, and when they pass away, that's when they start kind of getting their respect. And that's and I think he may not get everything that he may have gotten, but people are going to people are going to start putting respect on his name now. And I hate that that's what it took for that to happen, because Spidar really, he paved the way for especially in this part of the country in deathmatch wrestling. He really did.
Yeah.
He really and truly did. And people can sit there and, he didn't wrestle all over the place. He didn't go, up north that much. He was in, it was like y'all touched on earlier. He was mainly, in Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, around this part. But you know what? What he did resonated all over.
Absolutely.
And you can't, no one can deny that. I mean, you can argue that, people can argue that all they want, but they're wrong. I don't care. And you can't argue, no one can argue that. What he did resonated. Those matches John and Spidar had at Carnage Cup, those Slaw matches, people still talk about that 10 years later. All of them, 10, how many years they've been past, people still talk about them. And even what Pondo said earlier, everything he said, straight facts, man. So, yeah.
Kevin, you got any questions for Lane?
Man, it's good to see you. With me and Lane's been talking on Instagram. He's almost got me convinced just to shut my Facebook down, just go to Instagram. But
there's something to be said for that.
Man, I don't know. I don't know, man.
You don't know.
Ask John if he's got anything.
Yeah, John. Like I said, I didn't mean to. I was told Pondo needed to get on quickly, so that's why I brought him on in. But we definitely want to hear from you throughout this show.
Well, like me and Spidar, we did so many matches that wasn't death matches that, no one really ever talks about. Those are the matches that I hope people can go back now and watch and realize, all the hate that this man got because of, the Saw matches and just death matches in general. We did, and he did too. He would just do awesome matches with Freak Show. And, when him and Freak Show would put on a match, you knew it was going to be a stiff ass, probably the stiffest match on the card usually. And, no one ever talks about it. And, that these are the matches I hope people go back and rewatch now. And, realize that this man, he was a true Southern legend. And, I was honored to have, made my Carnage Cup debut against them. And, from the first time I met them, we started this storyline. And, unfortunately, we didn't get to finish it like we were going to, because my last scheduled death match was going to be against Spidar next year. But, I I just want people to go back and rewatch all of his matches and, appreciate them.
And speaking of that, this seems like a good a time as any now that you mentioned that. If you want to go back and see Spider's matches, just to remember them, or if you haven't got to see a lot of them, there's a great opportunity to do that right now while also helping Spider's family, and that is through the new DVD available at Smart Mark Video, Web of Destruction, the best of Spider Boudreau. You can go to Smart Mark Video right now. The DVD's up. It's available. They're going to start shipping it out. And like I said, you can buy that, and the proceeds go to help out Spider's family, and they can really use it right now. So please do that. It's helpful, and it's a great way to document the incredible career of Spider Boudreau.
Yeah, 100%. 100% of the proceeds go to his wife and daughter. So
That's
so
correct.
everybody knows. I told Burns, I said to send it all to her. I mean, it needs to go to her.
Right. It never passes through anybody else's hands. It goes straight from Smart Mark to her. So they have her account, the PayPal. So yeah, I encourage everybody to check that out. There's some crazy stuff on there, and unfortunately, like some of the things Lane mentioned earlier, there's no footage of that. A lot of that stuff, but he really was an innovator, and like I say, I think he should forever be known as the godfather of Southern Deathmatch wrestling.
Yeah,
he certainly was the most prominent name and one of the first guys to do it and do it well.
Yeah. Hey, Lane, do you don't remember what year that was that him and Jesse Powers come off the roof onto that van, do you?
I think it might have been 2000, 2001, or around that time. Freak Show might know. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because didn't Zandig and Sick Mondo? I know it was. Let's see. I just looked the other day. It was July 26, 2003. So they Spider and Jesse actually did their bump a couple of years before Zandig and Jesse ever done theirs, and I believe theirs was just as high. I was told that was a really tall building.
That was a tall building. It was like a 2-story. It was like a 2-level barn or some barn size of a 2-level barn or something.
Was that
the Muscle Shoals building?
The what?
Was that at the one in Muscle Shoals when
I believe I'm not too sure. I'm really not. I just remember when I got started, and after a couple of months, I said, "Man, I want to do something. I want to do something crazy or something." I'm like, "Oh, like hardcore stuff." Like I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, you need to get with Spider Boudreau, man. Did you hear? You know what he did?" I'm like, "What did he do?" And I'm like, "He did this," and I'm like, "Oh my God, for real?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, I don't know about all that. When I first heard it, because I was just thinking, a barbed wire bat and a steel chair or something, just to start for starters. And he's like jumping off damn buildings at a single bound or something. I was like, holy shit.
It's one thing to work up the guts to do that spider driver once from that.
Yeah.
Line. My God, he did it. He did it off of buildings. He did it off a U-Haul truck. I mean,
I know
a number of times. And and kudos to everybody who agreed to take it, because that's no picnic either.
Yeah, for real.
Spiders in for a guy the size of Matt Tremont to take that bump is crazy as well.
Lane, do you agree though that none of the guys down here are ever going to get their just due and the respect they deserve? Because would you agree there's still to this day an anti-Southern bias? I mean, from up north projected down to here, and it spills over in to wrestling, sports, and then just society in general. Would you agree with that, man?
To a degree. I would say it would be, because I mean it's just stereotypical stuff. People just have this bias of what people perceive other people to be, and you know, and they just think of that, and you know, and they've got their favorites, and people have their favorites, and it is what it is, man. I mean, people. I mean, like I said, man, it is what it is. I mean, I got, like I said, 9 out of 10 dentists prefer Crest Colgate toothpaste, you know, and then there's that one that doesn't.
Right.
And I got 9 out of 10 people that like me, and then one that doesn't. So that's the way I look at it, and I sleep good at night knowing that. So.
Absolutely, and you know, it's about Spidar. We don't want to take things
Yeah.
in a negative road.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Spidar. I mean, exactly. I mean, we got people on here watching it, and when he's getting mad love tonight, and that's all that matters, and so he's getting his props tonight, and he loves them, and I love him, and we all love him, and I've always thought the world of him, and I can't believe he's gone, man. I really can't. Of all the things, and I was talking to Kevin the other day about this, of all the things that got him, fucking coronavirus. I mean, this man's been stabbed, John, damn burned, beaten, thrown off of buildings, shot, burned. I mean, everything. And of all the things that got him was damn coronavirus. I mean, I thought this guy was indestructible. I really did.
Yeah, Spidar's like the fucking Terminator, man. Like that.
Yeah.
Nobody had been able to destroy him.
Yeah.
There was a question that came across the screen there from Mr. DiCarlo, who wanted to know if Kevin's wearing a shirt right now. Can we confirm?
I was wondering that too.
I ain't got one on.
This mug never wears shirts on camera. I don't know what that's about. Thank you, David, for giving us a chance to address that. Maybe we can. It's gonna be kind of an intervention for him. So start wearing a shirt on camera for folks. But is there anything else, Lane? You know, any memories you want to share? Any other stories?
Yeah, I could share. Actually, I could share the first time me and Spidar went to the 2006 King of the Death matches. Me and Spidar were invited by Ian to the King of the Death matches, and we were both pretty nervous. I mean, Spidar didn't. This was probably the first time that I've ever seen Spidar not really talk.
Yeah,
he was real quiet. I mean, my goodness. I mean, it was. I mean, he was quiet. I mean, I was nervous too. I had Chris Castle with me. He drove with me, and Corey Shaddix and Smooth Please. We all went up there with me, and we rode. But Spidar and whoever he was with at the time was with him. Like I said, this was years ago. So, but he was with him, and he took on Deranged, and man, they had a rough. His match was pretty rough, and him and Deranged had a rough match, and he just, like I said, I only think he was there one night, and he left, but I stayed both nights. But yeah, that was the first time. I can just tell you, that was the first time I ever seen Spidar just real quiet and stuff, just traveling up north. But after but like I said, every other time he was everywhere else, man, he was the life of the party, man. He was, man. He really was, man. He having us laughing and cracking up and stuff. I mean, like I said, he was just. I was when Kevin sent me that message that he was gone, man. I lost it, man. I started crying, dude. It was so sad, yeah. You know. But I feel like I'm rambling, but I just want to say this, and I'll be done. Had the internet known Spidar before he had got, because about 2000, between 2000, like late 2004 or around 2005. No, about 2005. Spidar got hurt. He hurt his shoulder really bad, and he kind of wasn't the same after that. And he had to change his style. But before that, man, like I said, he was a fucking. I mean, he was amazing afterwards. Don't get me wrong, but he was like just cock diesel, just in shape and flying all over the place, jumping, and I mean, just doing the most, man. I'm serious, and I'm telling you, had the internet got their eyes on Spidar then, I'm telling you right now, he would have been a big a star as the damn Nick Mondos, the Pondos, and all that else. He'd been in Japan and all that shit then.
Yep.
No cap, as the young kids say. I'm saying that right now. No cap, as the young kids say. He be that. Now, he may not have been as experienced with the crazy ass weapons and shit like they had. I mean, he done barbed wire and chairs and all that, but all the crazy weapons that they had, he may not have experienced all that, but he would have adapted to it, and he obviously did. But he knew all the other stuff, but he would adapt to that, and man, he would have tore that shit up had they got to him beforehand, and he would have took off. I'm telling you.
I agree.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
No.
I agree 100%, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Wayne, it's
You're
good
right.
to see you, man, and we appreciate you coming on and showing Spidar some love. And I know he loved you as well. So
I love him.
Oh man,
Thank you for having me on, and it's great seeing all you guys. And good seeing. Hey, Anthony, I see you, man. Good seeing you, brother, man. I love you, man. I miss you. And good seeing you, Kevin. Good seeing you, John. Good seeing you, Gene. Man, love y'all, man. Y'all have a good one, man.
Love you too, brother. Man. Take care.
Love you too, bro.
All right. Take care.
Peace, man.
Peace.
And as Lane just mentioned, we are joined now by Anthony Masal, who is one of Spidar Boodrow's biggest fans and supporter. Anthony, tell us what's on your mind tonight, brother.
I spoke with Vic, and he asked me if I wanted to be on. At first, I was a little nervous. Spidar was a good dude. Even outside of wrestling, he was a good dude. He'd give you the shirt off his back. I feel the same way about John, too, and Kevin as well. When I went down to Carnage Cup, it was a different scenery. The people there, I mean, pretty much if you're a deathmatch fan or if you're a wrestler, it's a special bond. But when I went down there, when I went down south, it was a really cool feeling. You know, when you talk to people down there, it was something special. You could just tell. You know, went down there and you watched it, and I made some friends down there, and I consider John Rare a friend. I consider Kevin a friend, and same thing with Spidar. The stuff I was seeing on the internet with him and John were crazy. The shit with him and Freak Show was unbelievable as well. The blood, the bump, it was something much different. You know, they pushed the envelope, that whole company. And when I would see the Rebel flag, I know now people look at the Rebel flag a different way, but I seen a Rebel company. You know, I seen real outlaws doing some crazy shit, and they didn't give a fuck what anybody thought. It didn't matter if you were in the North, East Coast, West Coast. And I'm happy I got to go to a couple shows and be a part of that. When I found out he was gone, I really didn't know how to act. When I went to Alabama, it was a different thing. I mean, when I spoke with John or Kevin, when I came in, it wasn't even so much about the wrestling. It was about being family. And I broke bread with both of them. How we had a barbecue over at John's house. Me and Pat Pruitt ate with Boodrow. It was something a little bit different. You know? I mean, I remember when we went down there, Kevin would probably tell you, the one Carnage Cup I went to, they wanted the venue in Tennessee. They didn't want me to make food and give it out to the wrestlers because they wanted to get money from the wrestlers. And I'm thinking these guys are fucking bleeding all over. You can see every fucking vein and artery. You know what I'm saying? And I remember going to Walmart and just buying a bunch of hamburger and sausage and shit, because it was like a family gathering, just like at all the death match. But I remember making the food and they wanted to throw me out. Kevin would probably tell you. And
yeah, I remember that shit,
man. And I was like, fuck them. I mean, these guys are bleeding their fucking brains out, and you're mad because I'm making them food, I mean, it was crazy, but they showed me love and I showed back. Yeah, it was, it's too bad he's gone. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I think, fuck, I'm not going to see him again. I'm not going to be able to work in Alabama for the job that I have and be able to see him. It hurts. It hurts, like I say, I mean, you watch the wrestling, it's one thing, but when it's beyond the wrestling and you get to know somebody, it goes deeper than that. And like I say, when I got the call, I didn't know how to. I went and hid on the side of the building because it was auction, and I was just trying to think in my mind like, this is real. And I talked to him prior to that. I talked to him. Heard he was sick that Sunday before, and I just flew into Dallas, Texas, and I got a hold of his wife and said, hey, if there's anything I could do, how is he, and I just thought it wouldn't be that bad. I know that with the corona, I got the corona when I was in Houston, Texas. I want to say it was in January, and it like a lung infection, and you don't really know. And I mean, the thing about the coronavirus is when it locks onto something, and that's why with the people where they're older or people who get a cold or get some kind of sickness, when it locks on, it don't want to let go. And your immune system is weak to begin with from whatever you have from a cold or whatever. But when it locks onto you, it's a different ball game. It's going to be the AIDS of the late 2000s for sure. And if he didn't have that, he could have fought out of having the congested lungs and get sick the way he did. But he's definitely going to be missed. But Kevin, I don't know if you've mentioned anything, but we were talking about possibly you having a Carnage Cup in Russia. Do you remember that?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Do you remember what your idea was when we discussed it?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them? Because I think that would be kind of interesting because unfortunately now it can't happen.
Yeah, I know we was gonna fly Spidar over there. I wanted to fly Spidar, and then John told me he didn't fly.
Yeah.
I know you was gonna help out getting Spidar over there. And then of course Lane, Lane had mentioned to me, if we ever did anything, he wanted to be in it. So I hadn't told anybody. Well, I may have told Gene I was going to try to get Lane over there if I ever did go over there. But specifically about Spidar, though, yeah, you was going to help with that. And, I've been eternally grateful. And I know Spidar would have, too.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if you told him, but you were going to have a star match with him and a certain Russian gentleman.
Oh, yeah, Alex, yeah.
Yeah. And
I wanted to do one in Russia, man, but I don't know. I don't guess it's gonna happen now.
It won't, but it's just it would have been interesting to see that you guys go into Russia. Unfortunately, Rare not being able to make it, and he's retired.
He said he don't fly, man. But if I can get him on an airplane, I get him over there. Lane, you'll fly, won't you?
I'll fly.
It would have been like
that's probably at this point the only way I would do one is if we could do one in Russia. I've got a lot of shit in my mind now. I don't know if I'm gonna do another one, man. I just be honest with you.
I understand.
I just don't think I am, man.
Just think of how incredible it would have been to see a stall match with fucking Boodrow and Alex. That would have been, that would have been something cool, because we always see so much about Alex and it's pretty wild stuff, and that would have been perfect to see him and Boodrow or him and Rare, And St. Lane, how you doing, man? I haven't heard from you in a while. I've been asking about you, making sure you're okay.
Yeah, man. I'm just I disappeared off Facebook, and I just been trying to get my affairs in order, man. Just living my best life, man.
You look good. You look healthy. You look good. You look healthy.
Oh yeah. I've lost 90 pounds.
Wow. Kudos, brother, man.
Smoking a lot of crack. No, I'm just kidding.
Takes what it takes, man. You know what I'm saying? So, Anthony, to kind of touch on something you talked about there, and this is about Spidar, but this kind of relates to Spidar too, because I think he was a guy who represented this as well or better than anybody. Is it fair to say that deathmatch wrestlers have a more unique connection and relationship with their fans than any other kind of wrestler, or perhaps any other body in sports or anything like that? That I hear that time and time again, stories like what you just told, where it's like a family feel when you go to these tournaments and you go to the shows. It's a different vibe, and the fans feel closer to the wrestlers, and kind of like their family members, which is kind of weird because you see them go through such horrible things in these tournaments, but yet there's still such a close connection there. Kind of tell me a little bit about that and kind of how that was with you and Spidar.
I used to meet wrestling, and after I seen the match with him and Red, I thought this is pretty wild thing you can get to in like and with Red. So I believe I hit them both up, told them I'm coming down from Syracuse, and I figured
in the show.
And I did, and when I went down, I showed them the figures, and they got a kick out of it.
Well, I'm not up there.
I think we all have like a bit of a misfit to us, like, and I think it's a certain kind of fan, like the Grateful Dead would have a certain kind of fan or whatever. So I think with deathmatch wrestling, it's a certain kind of fan. It takes a certain kind of fan. It takes a certain kind of person to want that to their. And I think you can respect. I mean, I respect wrestlers all over, no matter what they do. But with a guy that's not get paid much on the big screen and do that to himself and still be respectful to somebody else, to a fan.
Right.
I think it's a different kind of respect for them. Just somebody who's willing to lose an eye and possibly walk ever again properly. I mean, you get a certain kind of respect for somebody who's willing to do that. I mean, you watch a death match and you're like, wow, this is pretty wild. We're seeing some of the craziest shit. But when you see them go above and beyond, we saw the Saw match. At first we're like, yeah, we're gonna see blood, we're gonna see some crazy shit. But before the match, after you get to someone and talk to them, you're thinking, fuck, man, I hope they don't die.
Yeah.
Because they're willing to go above and beyond, and they're in a lot of deathmatch. Go to a lot of deathmatch. Not getting a lot of people there, so they're fucking killing themselves between 50 to 250 people. I mean, it's much different. Seeing some of the shit on TV where you're seeing thousands of people and they're barely touching it.
Right.
I mean, it leaves a different kind of taste in your mouth when you're seeing somebody that's willing to do that, and it's a whole different kind of respect. Everybody who does that,
I mean, they got to love it to do it,
Oh yeah, I mean, you got to love it. You're not doing it for the money, especially if you're taking risks, and not being able to walk again, being in a wheelchair, losing it. You know what I'm saying, Gene?
Absolutely. I've spent years trying to wrap my head around it, man, because like you say, it's not for the money. It's got to be for the love of it. It's got to be for the fans, because that's really, in the end, that's really all you can really get out of it. And I've talked to quite a few people and about what effects maybe the business of deathmatch wrestling had on Spidar and his health overall. But I can say with 100% confidence, and I think John and Kevin and everybody would back me up on this. I don't think Spidar would do anything different. I think knowing how everything ended, I think in the end he still would have had the career he had, because he loved it, and he loved fans like you that made it in his mind worthwhile.
Let me see what it says underneath it.
He was a fucker too, man. Have you fucking rolling? We'd be at the hotel room, and the shit we would just say and do, I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him because it was like having a brother. I mean, yeah. I would message him throughout the day. I message John often, at least once a week. And it's just, I'm Carnage Cups wouldn't be the same if they continued, but I'm sure he would want them to carry on, because
yeah,
the show goes on.
Yep, just like Freddie Mercury sang.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Anthony, brother, it was great having you on, and we appreciate your insight. And you take care, and keep following Deathmatch Wrestling, and I hope you check that DVD out from Smart Mark, because it's a hell of a legacy of Spidar's career. So we are joined now by Little Donnie. Little Donnie, how you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. So word on the street is you've managed to get the COVID. So how's that treating you, man?
It's not nothing fun.
I can imagine. So what kind of symptoms are you having? Is it you having the fevers or coughing or anything like that? Or
I'm not having real bad fevers and stuff. I've just got my throat so swollen. It's where I can't, when I'm congested and stuff, it's like draining and stuff. It hurts really bad. You can't hardly breathe.
So it
It
ain't.
makes you fuck your dying.
So for all these people that say COVID is a word and it's not real, you can tell us from experience right now that it's definitely bad news.
Oh yeah, diarrhea ain't too fun. That's what you'll get, a lot of diarrhea.
Indeed.
Poor Donnie.
So right
if
now,
that says anything, we're down to one roll of toilet paper.
God.
Speaking of that is a good segue. Man. That is a perfect segue into what I was about to say next, Little Donnie. You are the man. Right now, we're trying to get you some help. We're trying to get some money raised. So tell everybody, we need to get you some toilet paper quickly. We need to get on that stat. So if anybody wants to, send Donnie a care package, we got the GoFundMe right up on the screen. There you see Little Donnie's beautiful mug right there on camera. We've got the GoFundMe going, so that is how you can go and share. If you can share that around, if you can please donate, that would be great. But if you can at least share that around, get that out there. And like I say, if you can send Donnie some toilet paper directly, he would appreciate that as well. So
yeah, we're gonna have to bump that up, Donnie, into rookie numbers, man. On that money, man.
Yeah. So it's good to see you, Donnie. If you got, is there anything you'd like to say about Spidar while we got you on here for a moment?
Well, the first night I ever faced Spidar, he almost killed my partner. It was me and Big James against Terry and Spidar, and against the Burke County boys, Big Donnie and Gentleman James. And Spidar, I'll never look at him and say, "Don't hit me with nothing no more." Because I'll always live and thank Spidar for hitting me with a dog fence kendo stick. That hurt like a son of a bitch.
That was a brutal match. I remember that distinctly.
He swung that thing like no tomorrow, and I felt every minute of it. And he tried to kill Big James.
Normally, I would say you're exaggerating, but no, I do. I remember that one, and yes, you just have to see that match to believe it. It
was bad.
James took from Spidar.
Yeah, he took that chair shot with pride.
It was one of the most brutal ones I've ever seen. Comedian Tim Statham, who was on commentary with me, nearly pissed himself watching that match. He said that was the most brutal thing he had ever seen in person in his life. So, well, all right, man. We're gonna let you get back to recovery, but we wanted to get you on here and let you talk about Spidar, and we wanted to put your GoFundMe out there so folks can help you because, like I say, COVID. You can't go to work.
But I can always say something. Spidar dying has really woke me up in this hardcore. When I get back, I'm gonna hand out ass whoopings to everybody.
Well, there you go. Well, all right, little Donnie.
And Barstookie, you first.
Well, he's I'm sure he's watching from somewhere tonight, over in Latvia, where that is.
I ain't forgot about you either, Raven.
So we're about to
love you, Donnie.
Raven. We're gonna let little Donnie get back to recovering. So little Donnie, you take care of yourself, buddy. And,
all right.
We'll see you soon.
All right, thank y'all.
You're welcome.
All right, bye.
I ain't saying let's walk in the park. I'm just saying.
All right, so things were going really swell for the first half of the show, and the last little bit they're kind of falling apart here. But Raven, we're gonna have you pull it back on the track for us, buddy. So tell us, share some memories, share some stories of Spidar Boodrow with us, man.
Well, first off, hey John and hey Kevin, hope you guys are well.
Hello, man. Yeah, man, what's up?
Not much. I will say the first time I met Spidar, actually it was Terry that got me on the show, and it was through Kevin. And so Kevin technically gave me my first death match, and that was light tubes and gusset plates in Tennessee. And I had no clue Spidar was even watching that match, and for some reason everything just went fucking right that night, and everything was good. And I walked through back through the doorway, and Spidar just grabbed me by the back of the head and pulled me in, and he looked me dead in my face and said, "That was fucking good, kid. I'm proud of you." And I was just like, who the fuck am I? I didn't get to see him a whole lot. I've probably seen him 2 or 3 times, but I'll never forget that moment. It was really cool. And then, Terry came over and hugged me too, and Kevin told me I did a fantastic job. So it was a good night.
Absolutely. I mean, that's quite the stamp of approval. Your first night in, and to get those guys to tell you did well, it's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, it was a good night. And then, surprisingly, when we did that, oh God, who did it? Milestone did it. That deathmatch tournament they did in Charlotte. Spidar actually remembered me and pulled me in for a giant hug, and it was. I thought he would forget me in a heartbeat, but apparently he did not.
And you hear stories like that all the time from guys that have kind of brief interactions with him, and then they see him later down the road, and he remembers, and you can tell it's genuine. It's not just like, hey, I remember you.
Yeah. It was cool, and he was good to me. We talked a little bit every now and then, and he was always super good with me and super cool to me. So there's nothing bad I can say about him.
Well, that's awesome, man. Kevin, you got anything you want to ask Raven about while we got him on?
No, man, just going to get you back down this way again, man. It's been too long.
It has been a while.
Yeah, I mean, so if you want to talk about that sometime, I know it ain't Spidar, but I do. The show, let's see, you were on the Southern Slaughter show with Spidar, right?
I was there. I wasn't on it.
Okay. I had not. I had found that on Smart Mark today when Smart Mark put out the best of Spidar. I had not seen that show, and I went ahead and ordered it today. So, just because I was thinking about Spidar. But, if you could just help spread the word that DVD Best of Spidar, all the proceeds is going to his wife and kids. So, man, everybody, spread the word about that. That's about all I can think of, man. I don't have a lot to say. I mean, I'm letting these guys pretty much tell their stories. So, but.
Well, all right, Raven, we appreciate you coming on, man, and take care of yourself, and we'll see you down the road.
No problem, guys. Y'all take care.
All right, take care, man.
So, John, like I say, I've kind of held you towards the end here, man, because it's came up throughout the show, but there are certain wrestlers, be it regular wrestlers, deathmatch wrestlers, both, whatever. There's certain guys who, through a match or a series of matches, kind of become married, for lack of a better word. And I think for years to come, and probably forever, you really can't mention the name Spidar Boodrow without John Rare coming up, or you can't mention John Rare without Spidar Boodrow coming up. And you guys, for all the hate that's been mentioned by some people, I love the fact that Pondo gave you all the respect you deserve, and the fact that you guys created a legacy together, and something that's going to tie you guys together, like I say, forever. Whether you do retire from deathmatch wrestling next year, or you decide to do it for 10 more. Kind of walk us through, man. Like I say, it hit us all hard, but I can only imagine how hard it hit you, because you guys were comrades in the ring and out, and he was like a brother. So just kind of walk us through this past week, man, of what it's been like.
And I talked to Katie, days before days before it happened, and I kept up with her the whole time. Just kept telling her to keep me informed on anything, and I work a very early shift, so I sleep in like the middle of the day, and the day he passed, I woke up to like 16, 20 messages, and everybody was trying to hit me on Messenger about it before I had to read about it on Facebook. And it really didn't hit me the first day, but when I went to bed that night, it hit me hard, and I had to keep from just bawling, all day, and you know it hit harder the more I thought about it, is because we were talking about doing some future stuff. Obviously, he was going to come on my channel and do my Saw Legacy uh, interview, and it just started thinking about all the stuff we were planning on doing, that we can't do now. But then I just started thinking of Katie and its kids, and like he was family to me. He was my brother more than some of my real family is, and it hurt really bad. And then not uh, 5 days later, we lost another very close friend. Uh, so I've lost two guys that I've considered my brother in like 5 days. So it's been really rough around this house right now.
I can only imagine, man. It's I don't know. I'm kind of like that about death. Like it hits me, but it really doesn't. And for a couple of days, and when the reality comes of, oh man, I can't message them, I can't text them, I can't call them, and won't be able to when that really starts to set in. And I know for you guys having those, those future plans that you had together, and you realize, well, now we're not going to be able to do this. I know it's really rough, but I kind of, like I say, I brought it up a few times throughout the show, but we've talked a lot about, Spidar Boodrow, the wrestler, and Spidar Boodrow, the persona. And we have, talked about some other things, but both you guys, you and Kevin, kind of for the people watching this that only know Spidar as a wrestling fan, that only know the guy they've seen on the DVDs or the guys they've seen at the shows, tell us a little bit about Bruce Forbes. I mean, because like I said, and you've mentioned, and everybody's mentioned, Bruce loved his family. He was a family man. He was a good guy. Um, Hilarious. I mean, the guy could have been the most hardcore stand-up comic of all time if had he chosen to do that, because he was just naturally fucking funny. So just give us a little insight into Bruce the person, man, for the people who haven't had the opportunity to get to know him.
Yeah, he was super funny. Like, he was quick to rib everybody in the back, and like one thing that, I can't forget about him is, he taught me so much about just making sense, going and not just going out there beating the shit out of each other, but, putting on a story and, making everything make sense. Like, so many people right now, people may be going out there right now giving 5-star matches every week, but in a year, is someone going to remember that 5-star match compared to another 5-star match? Not really. That's just my opinion. But he always wanted the match to make sense all the way down till like in the first stall match, whenever he did the spider driver through the table, that was his finisher right there. So that was supposed to be the end. When the fans watch it, they knew it was over. So instead of me just giving that forceful kick out, like, hey, fuck your finisher, dude, he was like, just barely move your shoulder. And that's what I did. That's like a little bit of extra life in me. And it was the little things that he taught me to do during these matches that's really, especially the Saul matches, that told a story, especially in the Deep South. And really, honestly, I think deathmatch wrestling in general, that'll probably never be told again.
I agree. I think that's why you guys were able to have that series, because it wasn't just matches that were just violence for the sake of violence. They did tell a story, which allowed you to continue that story, over time, and would have allowed you to continue to tell that story really as long as you wanted to, or would have been able to, if Spidar were here to do it.
I think one of the biggest, like, it was an honor to hear it. That and it's not putting down Carnage Cup at all, but I think once the third stall happened, it started to become like the culture. People were coming to Carnage Cups to see the stall match instead of Carnage Cup, and that was a hell of an honor. And like I've always stated that it was a hell of an honor just to be able to look into the crowd and see the workers watching the show, and when you, especially Freak Show, like when I seen Freak Show watching Saw 3, and there was other guys watching it obviously, but I respect Freak Show so damn much. He's a Southern legend, and when I see certain people watching the Saw matches, and Pondo was watching the Saw 2 match, and like if you remember, he cringed whenever I almost broke my freaking back on that damn chair. It's those moments that made me feel that the Saw match was superior to probably everything that I've ever done in my life.
I compare it to, and you guys can tell me if you think this is overshooting it or unfair comparison. But if you're going to compare, like, if you're going to say, like, all right, let's compare Carnage Cup to like a WrestleMania as far as like deathmatch to mainstream, I felt like Saul became the Undertaker streak match of Carnage Cup, whereas WrestleMania is huge, but the Undertaker match was a huge part of that event that people really look forward to. And I felt like with Carnage Cup, it was a big event on its own, but Saul kind of became its own thing amongst that. It's like, well, okay, we're going to Carnage Cup.
Yeah. I can attest to that because I think after the second Saw, I know I would have people flood my email and say, "Is there going to be another Saw? Is there going to be another Saw?" And people, they just expected it, like they want, and they demanded it. They demanded to have a Saw match at Carnage Cup, and it was one of those attraction matches. See, what's crazy is these other deathmatch tournaments, they didn't have that. They didn't have that one match that people, everybody was wanting to look forward to seeing. Even the haters, and I've been told by people, like, even the haters, they would share the clips, and they hating on it, but they're still watching it. So somebody had to buy it for them to get it. Somebody they knew that hate on it had to buy it, even if they're sharing it for free now. So somebody bought it. That one of their buddies bought it or whatever. So I think a lot of it, a lot of the hate is because we found something like the Saw match that told a story and was a continual match every year, like the Undertaker streak. And I think people were jealous because it didn't happen on their show. And so, but it got bigger. I think the Saw matches got, I think, potentially bigger than Carnage Cup themselves, because I had more people wanting to know if we was going to have a Saw match at Carnage Cup than any other question that I'd ever had. And so, it was huge, man. The legacy's over now. There's not going to be another one, but nobody can take away what John and Spidar did in the past.
And I think Spidar was quite proud of that because, especially in deathmatch wrestling, it's very hard to make something unique and establish something that, when mentioned, like Saul, you automatically think of two people. It becomes unique to them. It's their legacy. There's a lot of famous matches that are kind of associated with certain people in a way, but that series is unique to them and it'll forever be linked to them. And I've got to think it's not something I ever got a chance to talk with Spidar about at length, but I got to figure it's something that he was quite proud of.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good, man. Have you got a TV going or something, man? There's some horrendous feedback coming through.
How long?
Hear me now?
There we go. So how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. I miss Spidar so damn much. The last time I saw him, maybe, 5 or 6 years ago, I think. He's going to be missed. And I hate when he have COVID-19. It really kill people.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. I mean for all the people who say it's made up and it's overblown and it's a work. I mean, every one of us that's been on this show tonight and people watching can attest. It's real. It took one of our friends. It took one of our brothers, and nothing's ever going to change that, unfortunately.
But only thing I got to say about him, he's a good hardcore, king of hardcore. I mean, wrestling would never be the same again without him and John Ware. Both great matches. John and Spidar. He's going to be missed, and because that stupid COVID-19 virus coming from China hit the United States, it's going to kill everybody. One of us.
That's true. Jeff, we appreciate you coming on tonight, man. It's good to hear from you, and you stay safe out there. I mean, I know your buddy Little Donnie's got COVID, so you protect yourself and stay safe, man.
I sure will. You have a great night. We love y'all. Kevin, we love you, man. John Ware, we love you.
Yeah, love you, Jeff.
Gene Johnson,
You take care, man.
I hate you.
All right, Jeff, go fuck yourself. We'll see you next time, buddy.
You're going to have to get you and him in the ring.
All right, bro. Love you.
Love you, buddy. Take care.
Bye.
So as we wrap things up here, one moment. There we go. All right. So as we wrap things up here, is there any? I want to say too, Freak Show was supposed to be on the show tonight. He's had some difficulties with his phone, but he has been able to post in the chat. And Michael has been able to put them up here on the screen, so we have seen a lot of comments from Freak Show throughout the show. And Freak Show, we thank you for joining us tonight. I know you love Spidar. Spidar loved you. You guys were, very closely related throughout wrestling, throughout the years. And that's another guy that when you mention Spidar, Freak Show and Spidar Boodrow are always going to be synonymous with each other. And Freak Show is another legend of Southern Deathmatch Wrestling for sure. And Corporal Robinson was supposed to be here tonight, but he was unable to make it. So, but he did want to send his well wishes as well. So, like I say, as we wrap it up, is there any final thoughts?
What about old Chewy, man? I thought Chewy was coming on too.
He had planned to, but wasn't able to make it, unfortunately. So maybe in the future we can have another podcast down the line, or maybe John can have them on his channel, and they can share their memories and thoughts about Spidar.
Yeah, John. Do you still want to somehow have a Saw Legacy show, or is that completely off the table now since Spidar?
No, that's I'm still going to do it. I'm wrapping up my last project right now, and that's what I'm going to start working on.
So, is anything else anybody wants to share before we sign off here?
I don't know. I guess officially, what was his last match was with you, wasn't it, John? Did you want to talk about that? Any of that? One thing which we're still working on is that movie. So he's gonna have still gonna have a spot in the movie that's being made. So that's gonna honor him in a way. And then what's the word? Post. What's the word, Gene? When you pass away and you have a project that comes out after your death. What's the term?
Oh gosh, put me on the spot now. I'm
It's post-humanus or something like that. Post something. It's when you pass and you have a project that comes out after your death.
Yeah, we got you.
John, do you want to talk about that last Saw match in?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really bring up was, his dedication to put on that match because we were both fucked up. Like no lie, me and him looked at each other and we were like, you know what, we're going to give about 5 minutes because we were both done. We were hurt. When you rewatch it, I knocked the shit out of him with a knee in one of those matches, and I hit him really fucking hard, and he already had shoulder problems, and I think that was one of the injuries that he sustained in that match, and I think in the very first match I broke my fucking rib, but actually two, but in that last match we honestly we looked at each other and we was like, you know what, we're fucking done. We're gonna give him about 5 minutes. And when you realize it, or when you rewatch it, it wasn't 5 minutes. We went out there and we basically put on I think it was about a 10, 11-minute match. And, once we got out there, you really don't think about the pain anymore. And we just went out there and put on that damn show. And, it's definitely a huge honor to have been in his last match. Because, originally, Carnage Cup 12 was going to be his last show. Me and him was going to wrestle each other again, and that was going to be my last death match was going to be against Spidar. So it's an honor I'll hold forever that I was at least in there with him, for his last match.
Yeah, I know one thing we didn't. I don't know if you want to touch on this or not, Gene. If you want to mention your theory about these, untimely deaths, you don't want to do that. Okay, that's fine.
Not the place for it.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I just think he went way too soon, man. I don't know. I ain't said too much. Y'all know I've done a lot of these shows, and I just ain't had a lot of words tonight, man.
Well, yeah, there's no question that he's gone too soon. We certainly can all agree on that, and we can discuss and debate why and what some of the contributing factors might be. But like I said, I don't think this is the time or place for it. Tonight's just was about a tribute to Spidar and remembering him as a wrestler and as a person. I think we've done that. I think there's been a lot of great stories shared tonight, a lot of great memories, and I'm thankful to everybody that came on, for all the people that's left comments that's popped up on the screen throughout the show. I didn't want to interrupt people to try to read those. If you're watching the show, you can see them. You're reading them as we're doing it. So if nobody has anything else to say, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Like I said, it's been a great show. To end things, I just want to say, we're to Spidar's family. We're praying for you guys. You're in our thoughts. You're in our prayers. There's going to be some things going on in the next few months to help you guys out. The DVD, there's some shows happening, different things coming up. So everybody keep your eyes peeled. And when you see those come up, please, we beg of you, please, help out because the family needs it. Nobody expected this. Nobody prepared, nobody saw this coming, but here we are. So if you're ever entertained by Spidar and anybody watching this show tonight, I know you were, please help the family out. They appreciate it. We appreciate it. And last but not least, to Spidar Boodrow, Bruce Forbes, our friend, our brother, we love you. We'll miss you. And thank you. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight for our tribute to Spidar Boodrow.
Good night, Joe.